Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome 2019, and welcome to Black College Experience, the HBCU Sports Podcast, And this is our first show of 2019. We've been off for the past couple of weeks, resting and recuperating from a long football season, but we are back in 2019 to talk more HBCU sports and happening. What's going on, Kels?
It's been a good 2 weeks to rest, but I am happy to be back. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone else. It was just a time. I needed some time to rest, some time to see my family, some time to just, get some things together. So it has been a good weekend, or a good couple of weeks, rather. We did end on a strong note, and now it is basketball season. But right now, we're going to go into – I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, the HBCUs, all of the HBCU athletes right now, or former HBCU athletes that are currently playing in not only playoffs, but that are also going to the Pro Bowl. We'll talk about who was or who thought they were snubbed.
We'll have a whole show on that.
Yeah. We'll also get into basketball. Just going around some different things going on in basketball. We'll talk about the HBCUs at the Rose Bowl parade. We'll give you some stats for some HBCU stat leaders, some football signings, and we'll just go from there. So We'll start here. Let's go ahead and start here. I guess we'll start here with the I guess you want to say the HBCUs that's being highlighted in the pro selections.
Oh, yeah, talking about HBCU All-Pros?
Yes.
Well, yes, of course, our HBCU football players, alums, I'm saying, we don't often get players that are, when they get to the NFL, they don't normally get chances to perform. But we have had 3 this year who have been outstanding, and along with the others who are still toiling away to make their mark in the NFL soon, you're going to reach this mark as well. But we had 3 HBCU players who were selected to NFL All-Pro team. And I know I'm going to let you say the first one because he plays for your team. So you take it away with the first HBCU All-Pro selection.
So it looks like it's going to be my favorite, none other than Terran Armstead.
Yes, indeed. He's a second-team All-Pro left tackle for the Saints. And, he hails from the HBCU out of the SWAC, the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. And Armstead has had a up-and-down year. He's had a tremendous year on the field, but he's battled injuries. And he's battled them. He's battled back. And he's right now, he took the last game off, getting this. Okay, we have a caller on, but caller, kind of mute your phone with all the noise in the background. Okay, so Armstead, he aggravated his injury, but he rested and he's back now to help your Saints on their way to a Super Bowl. So, so talk to us about your relationship with Armstead and this fandom of the Saints with an HBCU alum playing for your favorite team.
Well, I do. I have this thing where I think everybody that's the same thing, they know this by now, and I say this every time, and I'm so serious. Every time when I see them say something different about, HBCUs on the TV, because, everybody introduces themselves, and they do the introduction, and they introduce the offense and the defense on these games. But every single time when Terran comes up, of course, it shows the Pine Bluff. And I'm serious. People think I'm lying, but when I say I'm literally cheesing like a test cat, like seriously, every time I see that. Not only because it's a HBCU, but it's closer for us because it comes out of our conference. So that's what makes it even better is that it comes out of our conference. And then, of course, being that, that the Saints, that's my team, it makes it even better. But what makes it even sweeter is that, of course, that I got my Armstead jersey in this week.
I saw that.
Really, really excited. So
what's going to happen is when you meet him, I know you're probably going to get it signed, and then you're going to have to frame it and put it up in your football room.
Well, actually, what I'm thinking about adding to the back of it, under his name, I want to get stitched underneath there, swag made. Now, I haven't figured out how to get it done yet. I hadn't looked at it, but I do want to get that stitched under there.
Oh, it should be plenty of HBCU alums who could get this. If you were in Baton Rouge, my frat brother can handle that for you if you were here. But I think that's awesome because it shows. He plays for the Saints, but he was made in the SWAC. And I hope he's able to come back and help the Saints in their quest for another Super Bowl. I know Saints fans are excited about this season because kind of looks like the last Super Bowl season that your Saints had. And we know I always make jokes about voodoo and superstition with the Saints, but these two seasons, the Super Bowl season that y'all had and now this season, come down to teams that you possibly lost to, teams that you beat. It's just eerie. What do you think about that?
The thing is that it's a two-sided monster. It's so funny because people always say, it's like, oh, you get a different team. And the funny thing is, coming out the NFC, you can see the strength, but coming out of the AFC, we know dominant was always the Patriots. So looking at the teams that have actually, looking at the Chargers today, looking at other teams, and you're like, okay, it's just like these people are coming through, people that you didn't expect. And even at this point, you have Philadelphia and Chicago. Tariq is playing his part. But right now, you're down 1.109. And, of course, they're running the ball now. But right now, everybody plays different in playoffs. And that's what we have to realize is that you can have a great team. The momentum can be there, and you can be playing at home. But that's the thing. Everybody plays different in playoffs. So, it's going to be interesting. I still have 100% faith in my team. But, the game has to be played.
Right. And being that you just mentioned Tariq, the human joystick, he is the next HBCU alum who was voted All-Pro. And he was voted All-Pro as a punt returner. But we know Tariq impacts the game in three different ways. In the run game, in the passing game, and in the return game. He's a valuable weapon for the Bears. He closed out the regular season with 1,169 all-purpose yards and 8 total touchdowns. And right now he is playing in this playoff game with the Bears. Right now they're down, like you said, 10-9. Let me see if I can find Tariq's stats here. See how he's doing. He only has 1 carry, no yards, and 2 receptions for 20 yards on 4 targets. He has not been able to be a factor much in the return game, but I'm pretty sure if he gets his hands on that ball, he can help flip the field for the Bears and help them in their comeback as they look to move forward. They just scored a touchdown. Maybe Tariq scored the touchdown. Let me see who scored this touchdown for the Bears. I'm hoping it's Tariq. But let's see, who was it? No, it was Allen Robinson. Oh, well, maybe Tariq could get a touchdown later on in the year, but he has been, like you said, a valuable weapon for the Bears on the ground, in the air, and on special teams. So I want to congratulate Tariq Cohen out of North Carolina A&T, the MEAC, for having 2 selections on the All-Pro team. And the last selection, Kills, we're going to have to talk about him twice because he was voted All-Pro, and that is none other than the Maniac out of the MEAC, out of South Carolina State University, Darius Leonard. Led the league in tackle skills, voted All-Pro. But the story is, what happened before he was voted All-Pro? What did he not get voted to?
So we go back to Darius' story, and this is when you talk about the Pro Bowl snub. And for people that follow, all these athletes, because we follow them all on Twitter, we follow on Instagram, so we see all the emotions. Even he was shocked. It wasn't even like a whole knockout, drag out tweet. The only thing his tweet said was "wow," and everybody knew what the "wow" meant. Everybody knew what "wow" meant. Wow. We talked about it. Everybody understood it, and I think from our perspective, we look at it differently because even when you start, you start putting the numbers side by side, and you start looking at the numbers, and you're like, okay, as a rookie now, you're not talking about somebody that has played in this league for 10 years. You're talking about a rookie.
A rookie.
And so it was just crazy to see that. And then that just brought me to, and I guess this is the whole coach thing. It brought me to the whole, even the situation with, I was reading what Robert Mathis was saying, how he was talking about it doesn't matter where, because he did a comparison as well. And I even posted that comparison. He was just talking about how one came from this place and how one came from this place. One came from a HBCU and one came from a PWI. And it basically doesn't matter where you come from. If they want you, they'll find you. And when it's time to eat, you'll eat.
Right. And speaking of his stats, and I started posting his stats comparisons up as I was watching him throughout the year. And I was noticing how he was basically changing that Colts defense. Because the Colts didn't have a pretty good defense last year. They didn't. And another thing, he was voted by, and I tweeted, if any of y'all follow me on Twitter, Hey Buzz Sports Dad, you can check out some of my tweets. There was one, I guess you could say, I don't know if this guy's still employed, but he wrote a story about the worst draft picks. And guess who was on that list, Kels? Darius Leonard. I tweeted to the guy asking him, did he want to apologize? Unfortunately, I didn't get a response, but I'm pretty sure he's like, how did I call this man a worst draft pick of 2018? This guy went from worst to first in my eye. Well, he was never worst to me. You know what I'm saying? I never thought that he was a bad draft pick. I had a good feeling he was going to excel in that Colts defense. I didn't know if he was going to play middle or weak side, but he plays all over the field. Just to round out his stats, he had 163 combined tackles, 111 solos, 52 assists, 7 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions, 8 passes defense, and maybe I got my line on the phone. PP, do you know what the STF stat means? That stuffs?
The what? Huh?
Stuffs?
The what's that?
What's that?
What you said, the STF?
STF. This is a new stat. I've never heard of it. But he had 13 tackles today, 5 unassisted, 8 assisted in the Colts' victory, and 1 pass defense. He should have been voted to the Pro Bowl. He probably will get voted in as an alternate and participate in the game, but there is no way that you leave the NFL's leading tackler off. I mean, when I compared the stats, like Kel said, I was comparing him against middle linebackers, outside linebackers. He was still heads and above guys at those positions, so he should have been voted in. Now, we talked about Leonard, Tariq, and Armstead. Talk to us about your opinions on those three and how you feel about them making NFL All-Pro. And then the Darius Leonard Pro Bowl snub.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Patrick?
PP.
Oh, okay.
Shoot. I mean, the way that Tariq, kind of broke out last year, you knew it was on that matter of time before he made All-Pro. But Leonard, what is it? The guy, I forgot his name as well. When I saw his tweet, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to make sure that, what's the name of that Twitter account? Old Takes Exposed. I had to make sure to tag him to remind him of how he basically said that Darius Leonard had to, basically, because he was hinting that since he came from HBCU, that it was going to take him years to develop, and look what he turned into in year one. So,
I mean, I don't know if we have any DC fans in here, but there's a cartoon called Batman Year One. If someone wanted to do a football comic on Darius Leonard, they could call it Maniac Year One and list his stats compared to, the rest of his NFL peers. He was a maniac on that field, and I know he vowed to get those 40 tackles, and he came up short of his goal. But if he keeps going, at the rate he's going, because in that game they wasn't even running the ball, they wasn't gonna let him get the 40 tackles. If they would have run the ball, then he probably would have gotten a good amount of tackles that game. I don't understand why talent evaluators, voters, people try to say, oh, it's a fan vote. You know what I'm saying? When someone is performing at that level, you give them the honors that they earn. He has earned All-Pro. He has earned a Pro Bowl invite. Right now, on his Twitter account, he says he's worried about hosting the Lombardi. And being that they defeated the Houston Texans last week, I'm torn, Kills, because who do the Colts play next?
I didn't keep up with the way the seating is, and just kind of watching it as it go. I can't tell you because I haven't really been. Oh yeah, so I hadn't been paying attention to how it goes. I just know we just waiting to see who New Orleans gonna play.
Yeah, that's all you worried about. You just worried about your Saints. But
yeah, so if Chicago wins, then we have Dallas first.
Yes, indeed.
Or that's who we play. We play Dallas.
So, but my Chiefs have a defense on their hands that has not allowed a 100-yard rusher all year long. And even though my team focused on passing the ball, and I'm torn. I want Leonard to reach his goal. In order for him to reach his goal of hosting the Lombardi, my Chiefs have to lose. So
let's go ahead and take a commercial break and cover the rest of this, so we can go ahead and move on to the basketball.
So we'll be right back in 30 seconds with more Black College Experience.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience, and we're basically wrapping up our HBCU Pro Bowl playoff coverage, talking about the three players who have been, I guess you could say, carrying the banner for our HBCU institutions. Well, we're now ready to move to the hardwood. We're going to start in the SWAC, and Kels, there's been one SWAC team that's been making plenty of noise in the men's division, defeating three, I guess you could call it, Power 5 basketball teams. And that has been none other than the Johnny Jones-led Texas Southern squad. Talk to us about what you think about how Texas Southern has, beaten teams that no one said they would beat. And then they start out 1-0 by routing Alcorn to start SWAC play.
I think the thing is that we all can be honest, and we all know that Texas Southern is basically the powerhouse of basketball when it comes to the conference.
Yes.
Other teams, they will play, but none of them have proven to play up to the level of Texas Southern. Granted that they have lost sometimes, none of them have played up to the level. To say that they have beat Baylor, Oregon, and Texas A&M says a lot. And the funny thing is like a lot of people are so surprised by it. And I think, it's coming down to like last minute, but there are some points where you're like a 10-point lead. So, to say that again, that they beat those Power 5 teams, to say that they beat those three teams says a lot. And one of the things that actually pushes and progresses you towards is actually recruiting, because I had a friend that graduated from Southern and her son plays basketball. He's really good. And she says, okay, we're going to she was like, Southern going to lose my child to Texas Southern. And I laughed. I said, well, at least it's still a HBCU. It's still in the conference. So I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine with you staying in the conference. I'm fine with you staying in HBCU, period. But we see what Texas Southern is doing, and Texas Southern is going to be a problem for the entire conference.
Exactly. I mean, with them beating teams, like you said, Oregon, Texas, A&M, and Baylor. I mean, Baylor was ranked number 4 when they beat them, right?
Correct. They were.
They were ranked number 4. And, we're not supposed to beat teams that have 5-star recruits and one-and-dones going to the NBA. But guess what? Texas A&M proved that it can happen. So, high-profile recruits better take notice, and they're led by a coach who has a tremendous coaching history, Texas Southern again, hiring Coach Johnny Jones, following up Coach Mike Davis, with a trend that, hey, they're going to bring in big name coaches to, I guess you can say, improve the level of the Texas Southern basketball program, which he's continuing. PP, what do you think about Texas Southern's start in the season and then, their perspectives versus the rest of the SWAC?
This both been
You're
first year
breaking up.
coach.
You're breaking up.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, this boy been there either the first year coach, even though he has experience. Then they lost Jefferson. This boy been like a rebuilding year, quote unquote. But like I said, they've been doing he came in and he pretty much just kept everything going, and he picked up just as many big wins as when Mike Davis won those games. I think 2 or 3 years ago, they beat 2 ranked teams. He's keeping it going, and especially the win against Texas A&M, they pretty much dominated them from start to finish. So,
right. And Texas Southern they have all 5 of their starters, or 5 players in the top 30 of scoring in the SWAC, starting with Devocio Butler, Texas Southern at 9.1 points per game. Derek Bruce at 9.4 points per game. Jeremy Combs at 12.2 points per game. And their 2 leaders, second scoring is Trayvon Reed. We know that name. 14 points per game. And LSU transfer Jalen Patterson leads the team at 14.8 points per game. Here's the thing with Texas Southern. They have 5 guys that can beat you. Most teams may have 1 or 2. They have 5 guys that can put the ball in the hoop, and that makes them a very extremely dangerous team with the battle-tested, team that they have, beating teams like they've beaten. And they did lose some games that, well, if you could beat number 4 Baylor, why are you losing to this lowly team? Well, we all know basketball is a game of runs and streaks. This team is battle-tested right now to take the SWAC by storm. Kels, they defeated Alcorn last night, 87-70. Tonight they're in Baton Rouge to take on your Jags, and Southern has a new basketball coach, one that we know well. PP won a SWAC championship at Valley. Kels, what do you think your Jaguars are going to do against Texas Southern tonight?
Well, for me to say that I just like, oh my God, they're just going to flat out win. No, it's going to be a challenge. And again, going into SWAC play, like I just stated, we know that it's going to be a challenge for the conference. If they're knocking off Power 5 teams, and not even just that, we know what Texas Southern is capable of from just previous years with Mike Davis. We know he was capable, what they were capable of under him. So, seeing this coming under Coach Jones and seeing the things that they have done just before conference play, now they're going to get a little bit more confident, a little more comfortable, because now it's like, okay, if we can knock off these teams, now it's time to play in the conference, and these are the games that actually matter, that goes towards the championships, things that actually go towards, things that really matter.
Right. And just to run down the SWAC slate that happened last night, start the SWAC play, of course, we talked about Alcorn losing to Texas Southern 80-77. Alabama State defeated Grambling State 74-53. Prairie View defeated Southern 82-73. Jackson State squeaked by Alabama A&M 54-51. And UAPB defeated our Delta Devils PP 64-52. And today, the only score I have right now is Jackson State defeats Alabama State 54-51 to start SWAC play 2-0 against the state of Alabama. And rest of the games for tonight in the SWAC, of course, Texas Southern versus Southern, Grambling versus Alabama State, and Prairie View versus Alcorn. So, we're ready. We've been ready for basketball season to get started. It's here. We have a strong team in Texas Southern that's looking to take the SWAC by storm. But we all know, just because you beat teams outside the SWAC, there are some times where you may come up short, as we saw this year with Morgan State beating North Carolina A&T, Who's going to be the Morgan State of basketball season? Could be your Jaguars, Kels, coached by Sean Woods in his first year on the Bluff. All right. So,
I don't know, but we will see.
Right. So let's jump over to the women's scores. And Kels, you know, I'm a big fan of women's basketball. Definitely got to talk about my women's scores because we had an upset in women's basketball also against a blue blood. You know, talking about the Grambling State Lady Tigers upset of Indiana. Talk to us about what you think about how Grambling State was able to defeat a team like the Indiana Lady Hoosiers.
And the funny thing is be mindful, not only is this another major team, but coming into this, Grambling had only won one game. Mm-hmm. So that's the ironic thing. Grambling had won one game prior to this, and they went down and basically they did really well in this tournament. But they did come off with the win with against Indiana, which was a surprise. And of course, we just have to highlight Shakila Hill. Of course, she's returning, and this girl is just killing it. Even in her game last night, 32 points. So she's killing it. She's killing it at every level. She's doing what she's due. But I think Grambling is going to be a team to watch this year again. I also believe Prairie View will be a team to watch. Again, ask me why. Because Sandy Pugh, that left Southern, is now over at Prairie View. And with her return home last night, she did. So, again, Grambling is going to be one of those teams to watch.
Right, and you know what? Had I known, I should have been paying attention to the schedule. I would definitely request a credential for this game because this was the big game. This was Coach Pugh's return to a program she helped build, a coach that she had worked alongside for years. So you know it's a different team than when she left it, but she was able to come in and get that victory over the Lady Jags, 55-54. Of course, you said Grambling State was able to defeat Alabama State, 80-72, led by Hill. Alcorn defeated Texas Southern 53-52. Alabama A&M defeated Jackson State. My good friend Tamika Reed looking to rebuild that Jackson State Lady Tiger program, loses her first conference game. So PP, we got something to be happy about tonight. Our Lady Devils defeated UAPB. I'm happy. Ain't nothing gonna down my night because of that.
Yeah, I kept keeping. Last year they slept on LaKendra Bassett, her and Christy Parker. One of them should have been on the elite second team, but Coach, well, I want to say Walker, but she got married, so I don't know her last name now. But Coach Walker, they're gonna surprise some people in the SWAC this year with that duo that we got.
Yes, indeed. And before we move over to the MEAC, I want to highlight the SWAC players of the week from this past week. On the men's side, we have Texas Southern University guard Jalen Patterson, a 6'1" graduate transfer from Atlanta, scored a team best 20 points along with 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Other notable performance for Texas Southern center Trayvon Reed, recorded a double-double with 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 blocks in the Tigers' 88-73 win over Texas A&M. UAPB guard Martavius Knight dropped 22 points for the Golden Lions. Alabama A&M guard Trey Todd averaged 16 points over the Bulldogs' last 2 games. And Jackson State's Jontrell Walker scored 17 points to lead the Tigers in the battle over Miles College, 61-57. And I have my ladies here. 1 second. And on the ladies' side, for SWAC Player of the Week, Jackson State's Marnisha Hamer has been named the Southwestern Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Player of the Week. She's a 6-foot junior from Memphis, Tennessee. Scored a game-high 21 points with 8 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 steal in the Lady Tigers' loss to Arkansas. Other notable performance was Grambling State center Jasmine Forte accounted for 16 points and 6 rebounds versus Oklahoma State. Alabama State center Shamaya Ward notched a double-double with 12 points and 10 rebounds versus Auburn. And Valley State's Michaela Bonner scored 13 points in just 15 minutes of action during the WS December 29th contest against Tennessee Martin. So congratulations to all our SWAC players of the week on the men's and women's side, starting this SWAC play. And now we're gonna take a commercial break before we jump over to the MEAC, Kels.
Yes.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about hardwood action in the MEAC. We'll be right back in 25 seconds.
Are you interested in attending an historically black college or university? Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm president and founder of the Common Black College application. Our application allows you to apply to any number of 44 historically black colleges and universities at the same time for only $35. So visit our website at www.commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. Thank you, and get educated.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience. We just finished our our SWAC wrap up on the hardwood, and we're ready to jump over to the MEAC to talk about basketball action on the hardwood. And, the MEAC has some strong teams, Kels. I mean, I would like to see how they do this year, but just to talk about this weekend's games. All right. Last night, starting on Thursday, Morgan State loses to Lincoln, Pennsylvania, 77-75. That was on January 3rd. North Carolina A&T defeats South Carolina State 80-77. Coppin State defeats Savannah State 73-67. FAMU defeats Howard 82-72. Morgan State defeats Maryland Eastern Shore 66-53. North Carolina Central defeats Bethune-Cookman 68-59. And Norfolk State defeats Delaware State 77-63. And, talk about the basketball players of the week in the MEAC for the men's side. I like how they do theirs. The weekly honors for the MEAC, Kels. Player of the week was Rashawn Davis. Davis scored a game-high 34 points in his team's 91-44 romp over Wilberforce. He missed one shot the entire game. That's unbelievable at any level. He went 15 for 16, 93% kills. It was the first 30-point scoring performance by an NCSU player since 2016. Up next was Rookie of the Week, Sherwin Devonish Prince. And Defensive Player of the Week was Cedric Counsell. Other notable performers were Counsell had 17 rebounds to go with 12 points. Devonish Prince had 22 points to go on 7 for 16 shooting. Other top performers were DeJuan Clayton out of CSU, Kevin Larkin out of Delaware State, R.J. Cole out of Howard, Cameron Reed out of FAMU, and Tyler Jones out of Maryland Eastern Shore, Malik Gans out of North Carolina A&T, Jabiri Blunt out of NCCU, and Justin Butler out of Norfolk State. Just good to see these young men, doing well on the hardwood. And to jump over to the ladies. In the MEAC for this week. And we have another story we're going to talk about in basketball for the MEAC. It's not basketball, but it's talking about a MEAC alum who played basketball. Now, women's scores from this week: Maryland Eastern Shore defeats Morgan State 73-68. FAMU drops a decision to Howard 74-68. North Carolina A&T defeats South Carolina State 58-44. Bethune-Cookman defeats North Carolina Central 67-50. Savannah State defeats Coppin State 76-70, and Delaware State loses to Norfolk State 63-50. And our women's basketball player of the week in the MEAC, all right. The basketball player of the week is Najai Pollard out of Delaware State. The rookie of the week was Raven Peoples out of North Carolina A&T. And the defensive player of the week is also Najai Pollard out of Delaware State. To run down these latest performance, Pollard averaged 27 points and 10 rebounds and 4.5 shots it's no wonder she was voted Player of the Week and Defensive Player of the Week, because she's going to score on you and she's going to stop you from scoring. Peoples, a freshman out of Detroit, averaged nearly a double-double this week with 8.5 points and 10 rebounds per contest. Other notable performances out of the MEAC were Angel Goldman out of BCU, Kiana Williams out of BCU, Tashai Corby out of CSU, Brooke Fields out of CSU, Chance Graham out of CSU, 3 young ladies, Maya Moore out of FAMU, and Candace Williams out of FAMU. Now, before we move forward on other action in the MEAC, there's a new show coming on TV called The Titan Games, featuring a name that everybody knows, The Rock. PP and Kels, have y'all heard of that show?
I haven't. What is it?
Well, it's almost like a mix between American Gladiators and Double Dare, I guess. Right. So, and The Rock is not going to. He's going to have men and women doing the same task, because, as you know, in some of these competitions, they always make things easier for the ladies. Well, The Rock is not going to do that. He's going to have men and women performing on the same level. Well, how this pertains to an HBCU, the name Breonna Daniels, she played basketball for Norfolk State. She also participated in the NASCAR internship, where she got a chance to work with the pit crew. So this young lady is making the rounds and shining a light for HBCU alums everywhere. She will start in Titan Games. She's a mass communications major with a design on career entertainment. So you can see why being on this show is going to help her. So she played basketball for Norfolk State from 2014 to 2016 and will be a contestant in this physical competition series, the Titan Games, which premiered on Thursday. And it features people from every day across the country competing in a series of endurance-based mental and physical challenges. So we want to congratulate her on being a part of that show. If she wins, she has a shot at a $100,000 grand prize. So, you know, it's always good to see our HBCU athletic alums pursuing their dreams. And, you know, her attending the NASCAR internship and now representing HBCUs as she participates in this NBC's Titans game on national TV, I think that's great. And Kels, I mean, we all know you like to promote women in sports. Talk to us about what her participation in this event means to you.
I think, you know, we continue to set the standards and we can continue to move the bar. It's a situation where I get super excited because I'm a woman and people know how hard it is for black women, and it's even harder for black women in sports. So when we can continue to set the bar, set the standards, and one thing about it, it's not basketball, it's not baseball, but, you know, you talk about NASCAR, you talk about a different sport. So it sets a different standard, and it's a different thing. So I think it's a great thing. And I know how you feel about women's basketball. So I think it's a different thing, and we continue to do different things, and we continue to set different standards. So people are looking at different angles.
Right. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch her performance, but, you know, I got Hulu. So I'm going to see if I can watch it and see how she did. Hopefully she performed well, representing HBCUs across the HBCU landscape. It's just good to see our alums being discussed for great things that they're accomplishing in their careers. And I wish Miss Daniels well. I hope she comes home with $100,000. And if she wins, maybe she'll donate to her HBCU. You know, but speaking of donating HBCU, before we move forward, Kels, recently you have spearheaded, because I didn't know about it until I saw your video. There's an HBCU that's in danger of closing. And when I saw your video, I was like, wow, my co-host be on it. You know, she's just not for HBCU sports. She's for HBCUs completely. And that post is still trending. Talk about Bennet College and what you've been doing to help get the word out, to help Bennet College reach their goal to be able to stay open and provide an education for women.
And now for people that don't know, Bennet College, of course, it is in danger of losing its accreditation. Right now, Bennet College, it is in North Carolina, in Greensboro, North Carolina, and it is another HBCU that, of course, that is for women. Right now, they have done several things, I guess, of course, against the board or for accreditation, and even despite the things that they did, they still said that it just wasn't enough. So right now, they do have a campaign that they are doing right now, that they are trying to raise $5 million. Before February 1st, they are on the up and up. They are, again, they're a liberal arts college, so they are trending towards that direction. But this is the last college, and so for people, they have reached out to so many people. They've reached out to your Oprahs, your Puff Daddies. You have the Smollets that's standing behind them. You have so many people that they have reached out to that they are just looking. Looking for the support to come in, because like I said, we just simply can't stand by and, just watch another HBCU close. So that's when, they reached out to me and was like, someone reached out to me and was like, hey, we think y'all have the platform to reach people. Do you mind doing a video? Granted, I was a little bit late. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And then I got caught up and I was like, okay, let me get this video done. And for people don't know, we're so used to interviewing people, talking to people. We're not ever behind the camera. So it took me like 20 times, literally. I was like, okay, let me redo it. It took me so many takes to try to even get it perfected, because I kept on redoing it. But again, like I tell people, for the donations, you can go online to www.bennet.edu /StandWithBennet / and then you can donate whatever gift amount that you would like to go to the Bennet Bells. You can do it under DUN, which is Stand with Bennet. You can do it under AAF, which is Alumni Stand with Bennet, or you can get it as a trustee. You can also do a matching gift. They also have the T-shirts that say Stand with Bennet. All of those proceeds are going directly to the school. And as of last week, there were over $10,000, I want to say, in sales on those T-shirts or donations. So again, they are trending upward. And again, we're just standing with Bennet, because I just can't stand to see another HBCU in jeopardy. Like this, like I said, granted, they came through on what they needed to, but, accreditation, they still were like, okay, no, you're not getting it. So they're fighting, and we're in this fight with them. Right.
And to talk more about Bennet College, they were founded in 1873 and has been a women's college since 1926. So this is not some upstart HBCU. This college has a long history. So we definitely want to help where we can to help keep this college open. Just to talk about other support, Reverend Pastor Jamal Bryant, one of my favorite pastors, his church raised $12,000 for Bennet College. And enrollment, which has declined, is up from about 400 students last academic year to 471. So there are still students there taking classes, matriculating to earn a degree more than last year. So it's still a viable college to help students receive a degree. So hopefully we can get.
Correct.
Hopefully,
and then also to go with Pastor Jamal Bryant, also to match that Word Tabernacle Church family, their pastor, James D. Gilliard, they also raised money. So what he was going, they had plans on raising $10,000. That was their goal, but they ended up sending a check for almost $22,000 to Bennet College. So they doubled what they agreed on. So, just shout out to those, because, people have their things they say about the churches, but shout out to the churches that are still standing with us, that actually believe in the education, and not just the education, but the HBCUs, and believe in educating our people.
Exactly. I mean, put it like this here. We have enough black millionaires in this country where they could help this college stay open. I understand, people have their platforms, but a school like this that serves women, that serves black women, deserves to be saved, not just because they don't have the money, Maybe the state of North Carolina can help. Maybe Michael Jordan can help. We all know with the stroke of his pen, he could give Bennet College $5 million. Maybe one of our HBCU alums who has been successful in their career will continue to help. I just don't want to see another HBCU close because we need them. Because if one closes, then what's going to happen to the next one that gets in trouble? We cannot lose our HBCUs. And like I said, when I first saw your video, I felt proud because, if it wouldn't be for you, I wouldn't be associated with Black College Experience. So to see you out there stomping for what you believe in, it made me feel very, very proud to be associated with Black College Experience and be able to call you my friend and to see that you just don't love your HBCU. You love all HBCUs, and you've been a shining star of that, and your star has been continuing to shine. And I'm just thankful that you're doing what you're doing, Kels.
We do, and it's a team effort, and we just have to stand in the gap for our schools. And I made this comment earlier, and I made the same tweet. We do in 2019. We have to be more diligent. We have to do better about giving back to our HBCUs. It doesn't always have to be in the form of fashion of monetary. It can also be in the fashion of time. Just giving back. We can't just give back to our HBCUs during homecomings and classics, but we also have to give back to our HBCUs during registrations, during the hard times, during the graduations, during the struggles. We have to give back to our schools year round, and we have to just do better with that. And, I know we reach out to other people, but we have to do better as alumni as well and giving back what we need, because that's where it starts at. Exactly.
And then PP just joined us back. Welcome back on LB. We were just talking about Bennet College, what people are doing to help save this institution because, we come from a SWAC institution where people are always talking about closing us, so Valley needs to close. They don't win, blah, 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 but institutions like this, small institutions like Bennet, like MVSU, we serve a purpose. If it weren't, if Valley wasn't there, yes, I would have went to another college, but I wouldn't be the man I am today without my HBCU. So no, I don't want to see another HBCU close. I don't want to see mine close. I don't want to see any viable education institution closed simply because people may label it as an HBCU that we don't really need it. Yes, we do. Someone needs it. Just because you don't need it, that don't mean someone else doesn't need it. So, what do you think about this campaign to keep Bennet College open, even when people are always making jokes that our institution needs to be closed?
That's something that's surprising. That wow, Bennet and Spelman. Those are the only two. What is it? Email exclusive. Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm surprised that more is. We know the big alum, the big female alum, HBCU with like Oprah, but there are others. I'm surprised that nobody hasn't stepped in. Yeah. We've like you said, we've already had. Just in the past, okay, Concordia closed last year. Barbara Scotia fighting to stay open. Morris Brown, they're slowly.
We know Keisha's fight for Morris Brown.
Yeah, so when we hear about these celebs that give money back, it always stepping on people's toes about who give. When they give back, they always give back to Spelman, Howard, FAMU, Tuskegee. All those schools have big endowments over $100 million or more. It's the private HBCUs that are in trouble. The ones that are affiliated or wasn't affiliated with schools. With churches. And once these churches start cutting off their support, their funding, that's what's messing up. That's what how these schools end up closing. Like I said, like St. Paul's closed a few years ago. Mary Holmes here in Mississippi, that closed in 2004.
Mary Holmes in West Point.
Yeah. So, those are the schools that need the $1 million
Assistance.
what is it, donations and stuff like that. I'm not hating on the Howards and the Hamptons and all of them, but do some research and donate to the schools, these small private schools, the Talladegas.
Thank you. Thank you. I had the same, thank you, Patrick. I had this same conversation, and this lady was going all around the world telling me, she was basically saying, well, because they don't have this major, they don't offer this. Then she turns around and proceeds to tell me that her daughter was a graduate of North Carolina A&T, and then she started telling me what North Carolina A&T hadn't done. And I was like, have you looked at North Carolina A&T's history in the last at least 5 years, at least the last 3 years? And so, that was my conversation. From our perspective, it's easy for people that have never walked on an HBCU campus, that have never went to an HBCU, but they're always the most vocal. Those are the ones that speak first. And that's not the case. And I'm like, okay, I said the same thing. I was like, you need to do some research on these universities before you speak on them. I was like, because a lot of people don't know the situation with Bennet. And I agree with you. People, we're quick to donate the millions to the Howards and the bigger institutions. But you got the Bennets that need the money. You got the smaller universities, the Wiley colleges that need the money.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And we know Wiley College, their legacy with the great debaters. And that debate team is now blazing another trail with their debate team. So colleges like that, here's the thing. Don't let me win the Powerball of Mega Millions. Let me win it. I'm going to be helping my HBCUs. I wish I had the money to help them now. I know that's a pipe dream because I probably will never win. But if I had the money, it would be nothing for me to help out HBCUs that need financial assistance along with my own as well. So,
correct.
But,
and I think that's, the thing, it's so many times. Well, while we're at this moment, Tariq Cohen has just been eliminated, so we've got to scratch him off the list. Chicago has been eliminated. Philadelphia did win 16-15. So we're going to be scratching off our HBCU list. It's going to be hard. So we're going to be scratching off our list. So I don't know, somewhere in there. So one of these HBCU players, we're going to be able to say that some HBCU player won Super Bowl. We're going to be able to say it somewhere.
Shame on the Bears for not having any HBCU players. I'm sorry, the Eagles for not having any HBCU players. Shame.
Yeah.
But we're running out of time. But before we go, we need to talk about the Rose Bowl parade and the bands that were featured in the Rose Bowl parade. Kels, take it away.
Okay, so let's start here. Featured in there, they did have a HBCU mass drum line. Major, got a snapshot of that. Leading the parade was Alabama State. The Hornets done a very good job, along with the Stingettes. And then you did have FAMU, the Marching 100 that also came. But, one thing we have to set the record straight. And this was my argument that when we put information out there, we have to make sure it's correct. We keep on getting this person was first and this person was first. We just have to put it out there. Mississippi Valley was the first band, 1965. So we want to put that out there. Valley was the first band to march in the Rose Parade. So we just need to put that out there. I'm not taking anything from anybody else. I'm not slighting anybody else, but we have to put the correct information out there. Who was first? I don't care who led, but to march in the parade was Mississippi Valley.
Yes.
Yeah, we marched back-to-back years in 64 and 65.
Yes,
first
indeed.
black
And it was
band.
so funny because some guy was like, "Oh yeah, my dad was in the band in Valley at that time." So somebody was debating this guy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, my dad was in the band." I was like, "Okay, so that debate is over. His dad was in the band. We're gonna go ahead and shut that down real quick because he didn't already prove his point."
But yes,
and
it was
what I
beautiful.
think-
I normally don't watch parades, but I watched this one.
Right,
especially
correct.
when I was flipping through and I saw all the HBCUs drumming. I teared up. I was like, that is so beautiful. I recorded that section and I rewound it and I watched it over and over again. And I was like, wow, that is so great. I mean, if you're on social media circles, you know all the craziness about band heads. But when they come together, it's music to everyone's ears because that's what the bands are for, to bring musical harmony and showmanship. Because the PWIs, they may have a little bit of precision, but the showmanship of an HBCU band, they cannot compare to. So to see our HBCUs on center stage for the Rose Bowl parade, Tournament of Roses parade, however you want to call it, to me it was the Tournament of HBCU parade. To me, to see HBCUs leading the way at this parade, it wasn't Ohio State. Nope. It wasn't Ohio State. It wasn't a Michigan band. Nope. It wasn't any other PWI band that's known for their precision or whatever. It was HBCUs because they wanted a show. They wanted a show, and it was just great to see our HBCUs leading the way. The Marching 100, the drum lines, all of the HBCU alum that supported these young kids as they marched in the Rose Bowl parade. So it just brought me a tear to my heart, you know what I'm saying, tear to my eye and joy to my heart to see, our HBCUs getting along, putting on a show, and showing everybody that, hey, no, we're not Alabama. We're not going to win all these national championships, but we're going to put on a show for you. Watch and enjoy. So, to finish up, we got about 4 minutes left. There is one bit of football news I wanted to discuss. And Kels, you talked to me about this. You actually told me about this days before anyone else knew about it. And that was CAU making a change at the football head coach position. That is, Coach Kevin Ramsey was released from his duties as the CAU football coach. And now we have another opening to fill. And just to read from the article, Kevin Ramsey is out as HBCU football coach at Clark Atlanta University. He started at CAU as an interim head coach in 2015, and he had an overall record of 13-26 during his time in Atlanta. The Panthers finished 3-7 last season. Now, that's, I guess you can say, interim year and then 3 full years. We know building a football team is not easy. And sometimes coaches can have quick turnarounds. It may take longer for a turnaround. Kels, with you being in Atlanta and possibly having close ties to the CAU program, what do you think about this move by CAU?
Not to get deep into this is another conversation, but I mean, looking at what Coach Rams, I think they were 3-7, 3-9 or something like that. His seasons were back to back, so he didn't have the best seasons. Now, him as a person, great coach. Great person, but as a coach, I guess that, they saw the change coming. And this was actually some rumors I had heard before anyway. So, I guess it finally came to play. And I was shocked when I got the release on it, Friday. I was really shocked about it. Really didn't expect that. But like I said, this is something they had talked about for a while, I guess so.
Right. And, we all know that Lynn Dawson did not hire Ramsey. And we know he has a propensity to make high-profile hires for coaching positions because he did bring in Darryl Walker and George Lynch, who were both NBA veterans, along with Yolanda Moore, who was a veteran of the WNBA. So it will be interesting to see who is announced as the next Panthers head coach. Now, I'm trying to remember. Isn't Willie Totten on that staff, Kels?
Yeah, he's quarterback coach.
Yeah. So, we all know who Willie Totten is. That's our quarterback legend. He was a head coach at our Delta Devils. He had moderate success, but wasn't successful because it says here the staff changes. The staff will stay on in the search process and will have an opportunity to interview with the next head coach, according to CAU. So who knows? Maybe Todd may stay on at CAU. Perhaps he may be given a chance to be the head coach at CAU. I would like to see Todd get a chance at being the head coach again because, we knew it was going to be hard for him to win at Valley. We know who Willie Totten is to HBCU football. So I would love to see him get a chance to continue coaching and be a head coach again. Kels, we're about out of time, so go ahead and wrap us up.
Okay, so we're back next week. Next week we do have our first guest of the season. We do have women's basketball coach of Russ College. His name is Coach Eric Jackson. So Coach Eric Jackson will be joining us on next week. I think they dropped their game yesterday. Up until yesterday, they were undefeated, but we will have Coach Eric Jackson again next week from Russ College, the women's basketball coach. And just the additional, he is y'all frat brother. So
Yes.
he is a member of Phi Beta Sigma. So we will again have Coach Eric Jackson on next week.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But that's all for tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to Black College Experience. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you had a great start to your new year of 2019.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.